Thank you, Toastmaster Albert. World Wide Web, or the Internet as we call it. Don't you think it's kind of like electricity? We all know how to use it, but we really don't know how the mechanics behind it. How many of you over here know how the Internet actually works? One, two. Well, I can assure you, end of this speech, most of you, or if not everyone, would know how exactly the Internet works. Now I'll try to do this in a way that non-IT people can understand. I'll try not to use too much jargon. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So, let me move this here so I'll make use of the whiteboard. So what exactly is the Internet? If you look at most of the computer books, they put Internet and draw a cloud around it. It's not really a cloud. It's a pretty simple concept. Internet is basically a wire. That's all it is. It could be fiber optics, it could be a copper wire, sometimes satellite, sometimes cell phone network, but basically it is just a wire, and it's very deep underground. Now why is this wire so important? If you hook two computers, they can communicate within this wire. And these computers are called server. What are servers? Servers are basically special computers, not the ones you and I use. It is a special computer which basically stores the websites we browse. So if you log on to Facebook, the login screen is stored on the Facebook server and on the hard disk of this server. So if you want to access one of these servers, you have, and these servers are kind of like, it's identified uniquely and it has a name. Let's say this one has the name 72.14.205.100. And let's call this 69.63.176.140. These numbers are called IP addresses. An IP address is nothing but, it is something similar to a postal address. So if someone has to send you a letter, they use the street name, the house number, the city, state. For computer, this is the house number, street name, city, state, and all the details. Everything which is connected to an internet will have a special IP address. Now, let's say you're sitting at your home. This is your PC, and you want to access, let's say, this website right here. You can't sit there and type these numbers. It's too hard to remember with the amount of information there is on the net. So we give it names. This we call google.com, and this we call facebook.com. So when you type in google.com, for the computer, this is what it means. If you type in Facebook, this is where it takes you. So if you want to access Facebook, you connect your computer to the internet and go to the server and access the hard disk of this server, and there's the login page right there. And all this transmission, it happens in packets. So if this is your Facebook login page, and if you want to access this from your PC, this page, let's say, is split into 4 parts. And let's call it 1, 2, 3, and 4. This page is too large to transfer over the network. So it's broken down into 4 parts, and each part is called a packet. So you have packet 1, which is sent to your computer, and it says 25% loaded. And when packet 2 is sent, it says 50%. And when the whole page is loaded, it says load complete, and the page is displayed on your web browser. Now, happens, I'll give you a scenario when, let's say, you're in the office, you're sitting, and you're browsing Facebook. Let's say your boss is in the next room. He's trying to get to Google and trying to do some research. And both of you try to access the internet. And what is the proof that, how do you determine that both of you are communicating on the internet? How do you know that your Facebook account doesn't land up on your boss's screen and his market research on your screen? Well, there's a little bit intermediate stages between this. Now, since your computer is not directly connected to the internet, it has to go through something called as Internet Service Provider. This could be a Comcast, AT&T, whatever it is. It just connects your system to the internet through their routers and servers. So, and since your PC or your boss's PC is not connected directly to the internet, we'll call it client 1. And this is also a client. Now, when packets are being transmitted from your boss's PC and your PC, and it hits different servers and gets different information, it has to make sure the internet is so well designed that it doesn't jumble up the packets. It has to go to the exact person. So this is accomplished by giving an IP address for your PC too. Let's call it 169.160.1.1. And this is called the same thing, 169.160.1.2. And in between all this, you have something called as a router. So you have a router over here, over here, over here. Basically, wherever one or more network is connected, there's a router. And the job of this router is to transmit your packets all over the internet. And if your boss has to get to Google.com, it has to go through 1, 2, 3 servers. So servers is what actually keeps the packets moving. And it just takes your packet one step closer to the destination. And since your PC is identified uniquely, and the server is identified with a unique address, it's just like sending a post. So you send the packet, and the router forwards it, and these are like post offices which just transfer your packets. And since you have the destination and the source, it is always made sure that the packets don't jumble up. And this is a similar concept is also for the email. Since I'm running out of time, I won't get into that detail. So I hope that you understand when you hit google.com, I hope you get the mechanics behind how the packets are traveled on the internet and how your pages are loaded and what is really happening behind the scenes. Now, I want to conclude my topic with a fun fact, or a fact. Basically, the 10% of the human population really understand how the internet works, and congratulations, you're one of the 10%.